So let's chat about a Black Mirror episode and a Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode after I yell at the doodle who has decided to bark at people. Hey! You! You! Psst, 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 psst. Come on! Come on! Get out! Get out! Alright. Yes, start off with Black Mirror Beyond the Sea, which is this weird retro from Black Mirror, is this weird retro science fiction tale from Black Mirror, where you have two astronauts up in space, but the techno thing in the episode is that they can lie down in booths and get projected back into perfect replicas of themselves back on Earth, where they have their family. Josh Hartnett has his family. He seems to have a rather kind of loving kind of relationship with his wife and his children, it seems. I'll get back to that. And you have Aaron Paul with Rooney Mara and his son, which seems to be much more chilly, kind of stern, chilly. I would just say chilly at this point, actually. Chilly relationship with his wife. Sh- short, very quickly into it, the Manson family, basically the Manson family hippie cult, shows up at Josh Hartnett's family, cuts off his mechanical arm and ties him up and makes him watch as they butcher his family, because they claim he's, against nature, what he has done there. So this Charlie is there for this, very much leading this thing. He bloodily butchers the family. Might as well write helter skelter on the walls in blood. They're smearing blood on the walls, so it's very much the Manson family. So there's that. He goes into a tailspin. Rooney Mara suggests to Aaron Paul that, maybe you should let him use your body to just get some air and stuff like that. Josh Hartnett basically forms this kind of this kind of infatuation with Rooney Mara, and says like, and when this gets exposed, he yells at Aaron Paul's like, she is lone, your wife is lonely, you don't touch her, you're not, this is thing. And Aaron Paul's like, she is mine. And while Aaron Paul is out in space on a spacewalk, Josh Hartnett slips in and murders them, because if they can't be his, then they can't be Aaron Paul's, and that's the story. It's set in a weird 50s, and I find that Aaron Paul and Rooney Mara particularly seem to be miscast, because they're very contemporary actors and they're not acting 50ish. Aaron Paul, I think, is supposed to be kind of a strict military, emotionless, kind of minimalist father, and it's Aaron Paul, and he's a good actor, but he's not doing that. So there's this weird dissonance between that. And Rooney Mara does better, but it's still like weird. She feels contemporary in a way. You get the sense this is supposed to be like a sci-fi story that was written in the 60s. You get a whole bunch of classic sci-fi and other kind of literature, which is all 60s based. And indeed, there's, Ja noticed in the background, there was a thing of like how much meat was, and it was like 73 cents a pound. And that was like, back in the 60s, it would cost that much. But also, yeah, just all the literature, Valley of the Dolls, Moon is a Harsh Mistress, Ray Bradbury, it's all very 60s based thing. Kind of like, okay, toxic males view their wives and children as their possessions, and so when they can't have them, they just they murder them. So is that it? I'm kind of wondering, wondering what the fuck. I mean, I can see what they're going for with like Josh Hartnett is like this tall guy who kind of towers over Aaron Paul. He's always doing handshakes, which is like at first you think this is all kind of odd, old and old fashioned. Not realizing what era it is in at first, but then you realize it's a power domination move, and Aaron Paul being the shorter, insecure guy. Um, Supposedly, I guess I'm supposed to get the kind of the '60s cut off male military kind of cut off from his feelings, but I don't really get that from Aaron Paul. There's good acting, there's good details, but it's like, is that it? Am I missing something? I'm gonna listen to what other people have to say because it was like one of these episodes. Like, am I missing something? Because there was things that were dissonant that I don't think were supposed to be dissonance, and then the whole point of just like his mind. Uh, and that final scene of Josh, like Aaron Paul comes out after having discovered his back on Earth, his family is all butchered, and comes out from the spaceship as himself. Josh Hartnett sitting there, and he's sitting at a table, and he kicks a chair. So it's like come up to the table, sit with me in the table of miserable alone men who don't have anything, and are it's like, yep, we're brothers together, kind of. Okay, yeah, that sucks. Um, our objects have been extinguished, and we're bummed about that. We don't actually care about them as people. I guess that's what we're going for. It's like toxic masculinity kind of thing. I don't know. And it's a sci-fi version of that. There's the whole thing of just the vulnerability of these guys. They kind of have to depend on each other. They're like lying asleep. They kind of go into a sleep when they go back to Earth, so their bodies are just there. Then there's the whole thing of Aaron Paul letting Josh Hartnett use his body on Earth, which in his life, which is like a kind of a weird kind of vulnerability, which I guess kind of weaves in with that male insecurity thing. I don't know. Maybe it does have some good disquieting stuff in it it's not without value, definitely. Yeah, and the other episodes, other thing I watched was Star Trek. Uh, was it Ad Astra Astra? It's To the Stars Through Hardship was the name of the episode, and this is the courtroom episode where first officer Una has been caught out as being Illyrian, genetically modified. That's illegal in Starfleet, so she's put on. She's offered a deal, just like, dishonorable discharge, and we won't make you serve any time because we want to sweep it under the rug. She refuses because they've got a hotshot Illyrian lawyer who is a friend who holds a grudge because it turns out she walked away from Illyrians and chose to pass as a human, so and she can get into Starfleet, and the friend, maybe not, a black played by a black actress, not understandably kind of resents her friend for abandoning her people and choosing to pass as the prejudiced, racist, ableist society that persecutes Illyrians. Is pissed about that, but is indeed allowed into the thing. And what we have is TV court, where, unlike actual court, which isn't about it's about the law, it's not about justice. TV court is all about justice and making appeals to the higher ideal, which is, I think they did it well. And it was very stirring. There's a semi-logical part of my mind going, no, these are, if this was actual court, but it's not actual court, it's science fiction court, and that really takes any of the training wheels off of TV writers who just want to go into big speeches and great stirring stuff, which they do really well. And I mean, there's a part of me that wishes at the end when those end speeches, it's like, oh, wish that was someone could sit down, Supreme Court judges, and appeal to their side. And there's little tear trickling out of Clarence Thomas's eye, and he suddenly sees the light and decides to kind of to embrace the kind of the ideals of court. But of course they have this. I think my biggest criticism of this episode is this is liberal comfort food, and I am obviously on a more liberal side of things, but so it's going to appeal to me. It wouldn't make a damn bit of difference to anyone on the other side. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. So there is that. Theo, all you guys do is just bark at everybody. I just watched Vera Wild talk about the episode, and I think she makes a good point that they make a good point that it is an episode where they don't go for the racist side says no, we have to follow the law, and it's not also, oh, we're going to throw it all over and we're going to change and be everything perfect now. They go for a middle path where they just like have the court do a very narrow ruling, which isn't going to affect anything on either side. It's just for this, we're going to judge it on the individual merits, and that's kind of a middle path that is a little bit more I don't know if it's realistic. To me, realistic would have been they would have gone, we're just the court doing court martial, you're court-martialed, you're going to the penal colony. Like it's TV law, which means we throw out the law and we're about justice. But of course, Star Trek, and it is a utopian-ish show. We're looking for those ideals, so I don't think I can fault it for it. And it was definitely far better than far better than the first episode. The Thing. Is it the greatest of TV of all, Star Trek of all time? No, but I think Rebecca Romaine did a really good job. I think the woman who played the Illyrian lawyer did a really good job. Maybe a couple of too many shots of looking at the beaming or concerned faces of the crew just to remind us they're still there. They're obviously busy doing the crappy first episode, so they just had them in to do reaction shots. A lot of reaction shots, which I think I could have done done with less of, but you know, I'm not going to complain too much. It didn't get too soppy. Yeah. All right. I will leave it there. I'm going upstairs to have a bath. More videos later.